Your mind can be your strongest ally or your fiercest enemy, and your success is entirely dependent on your ability to master it. Get this right, and your success will be inevitable. Get this wrong, and you will never achieve your goals. As a performance coach to 6, 7, and 8-figure entrepreneurs, I've seen it hundreds of times how those who conscientiously master their minds always end up winning in business. This video is about the 2 levers that you can use to master your mind starting today, and what is the specific protocol that I use and I train people in that will guarantee you make mental gains every single day. If you apply it within 3 months, you'll be a totally different person. Welcome back. I'm Castillo, founder of Selfmastered Performance Institute for Entrepreneurs. And typically the first way that you can go about mastering your mind is through mental exertion. This is the school of thought that says that a strong mind can only be shaped through hard work, through discipline, by going at war against yourself and facing the resistance of hard work every single day until you vanquish it. And this is typically good advice because the world has gone soft. Most people are very distracted and they cannot hold their attention and consistently work on something for long enough to see the results they seek. So strengthening the mind through discipline and hard work is typically the first step of anyone who truly wants to become an elite performer. This is what David Goggins, Elon Musk, or Jocko Willink teach people: how to honor your commitment, follow through on your words, and actually build a strong mind. And this works in the short term, but it is not a long-term solution. Why? Because first, consistently pushing against the resistance elevates the baseline level of cortisol, which is the stress hormone. And if you're consistently operating with a very high level of cortisol in the body, you create something called allostatic load, which is a measure of the wear and tear that stress has on your brain and your body. Over time, this deteriorates your cognitive performance, your ability to think and make good decisions, but also it damages your emotional management. So at some point, you will end up snapping and making decisions out of fear or anxiety. So consistently going at war against yourself cannot be a long-term solution. But there's a second problem too, which is the fact that consistently facing the resistance every day does not eliminate the source of that resistance. The problem that creates the subconscious resistance will always be there until you learn how to let it go. Which leads me to part number 2, which is the second way in which you can master your mind, which is mental liberation. Mental liberation implies carefully understanding what are the subconscious patterns that are driving that resistance. What are the things that you might be afraid of that you want to be doing that create that psychological resistance? Some authors call this self-compassion. In essence, it is the school of thought of spiritual authors like Don Miguel Ruiz, Eckhart Tolle, Michael Singer, and so many others. Mental liberation works at the root of the problem, processing and letting go of those subconscious inclinations that are at the base of fear and anxiety. And what this does is it typically activates the opposite nervous system in the brain, the parasympathetic nervous system, activating the healing response and relaxing you over time. So what is better? To consistently do mental exertion and discipline yourself and push hard, or spend your time understanding what are your deep subconscious inclination and letting go of the dysfunctional programming at the peril of not really going after your goals with that much intensity? What should you do? Well, the answer is very simple. You should do both, and you should do more of what you're not doing right now, because growth and performance follows a very simple equation. Stress plus rest equals growth. So if you're consistently pushing without resting, if you are strengthening your mind without giving yourself a little bit of break to process what's going on in your subconscious, you will burn out and eventually snap. But at the same time, if you're consistently self-interrogating yourself, going at the root of your own psychology without really pushing against the things you don't want to do, you will be caught in a misery pit that has no ending. Elite performers know exactly how to balance those both extremes, pushing and pulling, stress and rest, exertion and liberation. Just as when you go to the gym, in order to build your body, you have to push, lift weights, and then rest. So same happens with the mind. Mental exertion is catabolic, mental liberation is anabolic. The solution is to find what I call the zone of growth, or in technical terms, the zone of optimal development, which is when you're pushing hard enough that you're creating an adaptation response in your mind. You are doing new things, learning new skills, having new behaviors, creating new beliefs, but also you are not too far outside that you end up creating burnout. You stay in that golden zone in which you are making progress every single day. And every time you rest and recover and self-interrogate and think about the things that are driving your behavior in order to let go of the things that are hurting your behavior, over time, your baseline elevates and you're consistently able to push harder without burning out and self-interrogating deeper without getting stuck. This is the game. This is how elite performers actually become so effective and end up having what I call an infinite comfort zone. Nothing is off bounds because they have learned how to push strong enough to get things done without getting emotionally hijacked. In my specific protocol, to do this every single day, to learn new skills, to do new stuff I don't want to do, to create new beliefs, is to follow this, is to structure whatever it is that I want to learn, or whatever belief that I want to create, or whatever it is that I want to exercise my mind on. I will time block typically for 90 minutes, and then I will push very hard to actually learn that thing, to learn that new skill, to do that new stuff. And I will not sabotage within those 90 minutes. At the end of those 90 minutes, after what I call one refund session, I would ask myself whether there was a tendency towards distraction, where there was too much resistance, whether there's a subconscious pattern that is holding myself back. And if the answer is yes, then I go deep into a self-reflection exercise in order to unearth the root causes of that resistance. And what I typically find is that I can easily find exactly what is it that is hurting my ability to consistently show up. And I let that go. So the next time that I do the same thing, I am more effective. And over time, this is how I've taught myself hundreds of skills at this point. By going outside of what I think is for me, learn what I need, and then subconsciously accepting that new knowledge, that new behavior, that new belief system. I hope this is useful to you. This is a universal protocol that growth and performance always follow. Stress plus rest equals resistance, and anyone can do this. So right now, if you have a belief that you believe is holding you back, create a 90-minute plan to force yourself against that belief, to try to prove it wrong, and do not self-sabotage. Wait until you can prove yourself that that belief is wrong, and interrogate what is the deep psychological roots of what you are currently thinking. And you will soon find that liberating yourself from those subconscious patterns is easier than you thought it was. But in essence, you need two things: mental exertion and mental liberation, pushing and pulling, being catabolic and anabolic. If you want to go deeper into how to build a 7-figure mindset so you can truly scale as fast as humanly possible, check this video here. It's going to show you exactly how I've done it and my clients have done it. See you in the next video.